The pill bottle slipped from my trembling fingers and scattered across the kitchen floor. 23 white tablets rolling in every direction, but my eyes were locked on the crumpled printout my 10-year-old daughter held in her hands. Her voice was barely above a whisper, but each word hit like a physical blow. "Mom, I found this in Dad's trash. Why is he ordering something called fentanyl?" It was a Tuesday evening in March 2019. I was 34 years old, married for 12 years, and thought I knew the man sleeping beside me every night. I was wrong about everything. "Emma, sweetie, where did you find this?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. I was still kneeling on the floor, pills scattered around me like tiny accusations. "In Dad's home office." She twisted the paper in her small hands. "I was looking for tape for my science project, and I saw it in the recycling bin. It was folded up, like he didn't want anyone to see it." Her dark eyes met mine, too knowing for a fifth grader. "Mom, that's the drug they talk about at school, the one that kills people." My daughter was right. As a high school biology teacher, I'd sat through enough assembly presentations about the opioid crisis. Fentanyl was 50 times stronger than heroin. A few grains could kill. And my husband, a pharmacist at Walgreens, had ordered it off the dark web. "Let me see that." I took the paper from her, my heart hammering so hard I could hear it in my ears. The printout was a confirmation email from something called Dark Market 247. Order placed, payment received in Bitcoin, estimated delivery in 7 to 10 business days. The product description made my blood run cold. Pharmaceutical-grade fentanyl powder, 5 grams, with detailed mixing instructions for various applications. That's when I noticed the second page, still folded. I opened it with shaking hands. It was a printed forum post, a step-by-step guide titled Creating Undetectable Medical Emergencies, a comprehensive guide. The post detailed exactly how much fentanyl to mix into common medications, how to make it look like a heart attack, how to avoid detection during autopsy, how to time the doses for maximum effectiveness over weeks or months. My vision blurred. I gripped the edge of the kitchen counter. "Mom?" Emma's voice sounded far away. "Are you okay?" I wasn't okay. I was the opposite of okay, because I had a heart condition, diagnosed 5 years ago, atrial fibrillation. Nothing life-threatening with proper medication, but it required daily pills. Pills that Daniel, my pharmacist husband, filled for me every month. Pills he brought to me every single morning with a glass of water and a kiss on the forehead. How long had he been poisoning me? "Baby, I need you to do something for me." I pulled Emma close, breathing in her strawberry shampoo, trying to keep my voice calm. "I need you to not tell your father about this." "Not yet." "Can you do that?" She nodded against my chest. "Are you in danger?" "I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out." I pulled back, cupping her face in my hands. "And Emma, thank you for trusting your instincts. You might have just saved my life." That night, when Daniel came home from his shift at 6:30, I watched him differently. He was tall, solid, with kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. The man who'd held my hand through my father's funeral, who'd coached Emma's soccer team for 3 years, who made pancakes every Sunday morning in the shape of Mickey Mouse. "Rough day?" he asked, loosening his tie. "The usual." I forced a smile. "Parents complaining about grades they earned. How was yours?" "Busy." He pulled a pill bottle from his pocket. "Oh, I refilled your prescription today. You were running low." "Thanks, honey." I took the bottle, my skin crawling at his touch. He'd done this 1,000 times, a caring husband making sure his sick wife had her medication, except now I knew. Now I saw the calculation in his eyes as he watched me shake out a pill, the way he waited to see if I'd take it right then. "I'll take it with dinner," I said, setting it on the counter. "I'm not hungry yet." Something flickered across his face. Disappointment? Frustration? "You really should take it on schedule, Sarah. You know what the cardiologist said about consistency." "I know." I turned away, my heart pounding. Later, after he went upstairs to change, I grabbed the pill bottle and examined it closely. The label looked legitimate. Amiodarone, 200 milligrams, my name, his pharmacy's information. I unscrewed the cap and dumped one pill into my palm. It looked identical to the medication I'd been taking for 5 years. White, oval, scored down the middle. But I knew pharmaceuticals. Knew how easy it would be to press powder into pills that looked identical to the real thing. I wrapped the pill in a tissue and hid it in my bra. Then I flushed the rest down the toilet. All 30 pills, watching them swirl away. I refilled the bottle with extra-strength Tylenol I'd crushed and reformed with a pill press kit from Emma's chemistry set, close enough in size and color. If Daniel noticed, I'd know. If he didn't, I'd have time. Time to figure out if my husband was trying to kill me, and why. I called in sick the next morning, told Daniel I had a migraine, needed to rest. After he left for work and Emma caught the school bus, I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop and that crumpled printout. First, I checked our bank accounts. Nothing unusual, bills paid on time, modest savings, no large withdrawals. I logged into our credit cards. Again, nothing suspicious. No expensive purchases, no cash advances, no trips I didn't know about. Then I remembered, the printout mentioned Bitcoin. I didn't know much about cryptocurrency, but I knew it was untraceable. The kind of thing you used when you didn't want anyone following the money. I spent 3 hours searching Daniel's belongings. His desk drawers, his closet, his car. In the glove compartment, tucked inside the car manual, I found a small notebook. Pages of numbers and codes. Bitcoin wallet addresses, transaction records, amounts. I photographed every page with my phone. The amounts made me sick. Over the past 6 months, Daniel had purchased $37,000 worth of Bitcoin. Where had that money come from? We weren't wealthy. We lived paycheck to paycheck like everyone else. Then I found the life insurance policy. It was in a locked drawer in his desk, but I'd known where he kept the key since we'd bought the house. MetLife, issued 8 months ago. Beneficiary, Daniel Crawford. Insured, Sarah Crawford. Amount, $2 million. I hadn't known this policy existed. I'd never signed anything, but there was my signature at the bottom, and I knew Daniel could forge it. I'd seen him sign for my prescriptions 100 times. He knew exactly how I looped my S, how I crossed my R. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold the paper. $2 million. That was the price of my life. That was why. I took photos of everything. The policy, the Bitcoin notebook, the dark web printout. Then I did something that probably saved my life. I called my brother. Michael had been an FBI agent for 15 years, currently working in the Minneapolis field office's cybercrime division. We'd been close as kids, drifted apart as adults, but he was the only person I could trust with this. He answered on the second ring. Sarah, is everything okay? No. My voice cracked. Mike, I think Daniel's trying to kill me. Silence. Then, I'm coming over. Don't eat or drink anything. Don't take any medication. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He arrived in 15, still in his suit, badge clipped to his belt. I showed him everything, the printout, the photos, the pill I'd saved from yesterday, the forged insurance policy. Michael's face went hard as stone as he read. This is federal, he said quietly. Dark web, mail fraud, attempted murder. Sarah, this is serious. We need to move carefully. He bagged the pill as evidence, made calls, quiet and urgent, to people whose names I didn't catch. Within an hour, 2 more agents arrived. A woman named Chen from Financial Crimes and a man named Rodriguez from the Pharmaceutical Diversion Unit. They turned my kitchen into a command center. Laptops, phones, documents spread across the table where Daniel and I had eaten breakfast that morning. The pill tested positive for fentanyl, Chen said, reading from her phone. Lab says approximately 200 micrograms mixed with the actual medication. That's enough to slow your heart rate, make you feel weak, but not enough to kill immediately. He was building up to it. Rodriguez pulled up something on his laptop. I traced the Bitcoin wallet. Your husband made 5 separate purchases over 6 months. The first one was for fentanyl. The rest were for different compounds. Xylazine, a veterinary sedative. Digoxin, a heart medication that in high doses causes cardiac arrest. And most recently, ricin. Ricin? I felt dizzy. That's a poison. That's one of the deadliest toxins known to man. Rodriguez finished. 2 milligrams can kill an adult. He ordered 50 milligrams. He wasn't planning to make it look like my heart condition anymore, I whispered. He was going to kill me outright. Not if we stop him first. Michael squeezed my shoulder. Sarah, this is what we're going to do. You're going to go back to normal. Take the fake pills I brought. They're identical to your real medication. We'll swap out the ones Daniel gave you. He'll think you're taking them. Meanwhile, Chen said, we'll monitor his communications, get a warrant for his phone, computer, tracking his movements, build an airtight case, and when the ricin package arrives, Rodriguez added, we'll know. Customs flagged it already. We'll do a controlled delivery. When he takes possession, we'll have him for receiving a controlled substance with intent to commit murder. How long? I asked. How long do I have to pretend everything's normal? Eat dinner with him? Sleep next to him? Knowing he wants me dead? As long as it takes, Michael said gently. But Sarah, you won't be alone. We'll have agents watching the house 24/7. Anything happens, anything at all, we'll be there in seconds. The next 2 weeks were the longest of my life. I smiled at Daniel over breakfast, pretended to take my poisoned pills, swapping them for the FBI's safe replacements, kissed him goodnight, let him hold me while I lay awake, every nerve screaming. The surveillance team learned things I hadn't known. Daniel had a burner phone hidden in his locker at work. He'd been communicating with someone named Jennifer Sloan, a pharmaceutical sales rep from Chicago. The messages were romantic at first, then financial. She wanted him to leave me. He couldn't, not without money. She suggested life insurance. He said he'd handle it. They found the emails where he'd researched my heart condition, medical journals about sudden cardiac death in young women, forums where he'd ask questions anonymously about undetectable poisons, and most damning, a journal on his work computer detailing every dose he'd given me over the past 4 months. Dates, amounts, my reactions. He was documenting my murder like a science experiment. The package arrived on a Friday afternoon. I was at school, teaching photosynthesis to 30 bored freshmen, when Michael texted me. It's here. Coming tonight. I went through the rest of the day on autopilot. Drove home, made dinner, set the table like always, baked chicken, roasted vegetables, rice, Daniel's favorite meal. He came home at 6, and I watched him check the mailbox. Saw him pocket a small padded envelope. His face was calm, pleasant. He kissed my cheek. Something smells amazing. Your favorite. I smiled, my heart pounding so hard I was sure he could hear it. I thought we could eat early. I'm exhausted. Rough week? He washed his hands at the sink, the envelope now hidden in his coat pocket. Just tired. I am tired. I wanted to scream. Tired of wondering when you'll kill me. Tired of sleeping next to my murderer. We ate dinner making small talk. Emma chattered about her science fair project. Daniel asked about my students. Normal. Everything was so terribly normal. After dinner, while I was loading the dishwasher, I watched him in my peripheral vision. He went to his office, came back with my pill bottle, handed it to me with a glass of water. Don't forget your medication. I took the bottle, our fingers brushing. Thank you for always taking care of me. Something flickered in his eyes. Of course. That's what husbands do. I shook out a pill. The fake one, safe, identical to the real medication. But I pretended to hesitate. Actually, I've been feeling really off lately. Dizzy, tired. Do you think maybe the dose is wrong? He went very still. Off how? Just weak. Like my heart's not beating right. I met his eyes. Do you think I should see the cardiologist? No. He said it too quickly, too sharply, then caught himself. I mean, these symptoms are normal with your condition. Let's give it another week. If you're not better, we'll call. Okay. I dry swallowed the fake pill. You're probably right. That night, I lay awake beside him, counting his breaths. The FBI had told me what to expect. Daniel would wait until I was deeply asleep. He'd go to his office, open the ricin package. According to the instructions they'd intercepted, he planned to mix it into my coffee grounds. I'd drink it tomorrow morning, be dead by evening. Natural causes. Heart failure, just like he'd been preparing everyone to expect. At 2 a.m., he got up. I kept my breathing steady, deep, like I was asleep. Heard him pad quietly downstairs, the creak of his office door. I gave it 5 minutes, then followed, stayed in the shadows of the hallway. Through the crack in the door, I could see him at his desk. The package was open. Inside was a small vial of white powder. He was wearing latex gloves now, using a tiny scale to measure. So careful, so methodical. My husband, the pharmacist, preparing to poison me with the precision he'd learned in graduate school. That's when the lights came on, blazing overhead, blinding. FBI! Hands where we can see them! They came through every entrance at once. Front door, back door, windows. 6 agents in tactical gear, guns drawn. Michael was the first through the office door, his weapon trained on Daniel's chest. Daniel froze, the vial in his gloved hand. His eyes went to me, standing in the hallway in my pajamas. His face crumpled, not with remorse, but with fury. "You set me up." "No," I said quietly. "You set yourself up. I just refuse to die for it." They arrested him right there, read him his rights while securing the ricin, photographing everything. Chen seized his computers, his phones, the Bitcoin notebook. Rodriguez cataloged the poisons. Michael walked me to the kitchen, wrapped a blanket around my shoulders, even though I wasn't cold. "You did good, sis. Your testimony, combined with everything we found, he's looking at life in prison." The trial took 8 months. Daniel's lawyer tried to claim entrapment, that I'd planted evidence, that the FBI had manufactured the case, but the evidence was overwhelming. His communications with Jennifer Sloan, the Bitcoin trail, the dark web purchases, his journal documenting my deterioration, the ricin in his possession, the forged life insurance policy, and Emma's testimony. My 10-year-old daughter, so brave in her dress, and Mary Jane's, telling the jury how she'd found the printout, how she'd known something was wrong, how she'd trusted her instincts even when she didn't understand everything she'd found. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. Guilty on all counts: attempted murder, mail fraud, possession of biological weapons, insurance fraud, conspiracy. The judge gave him 30 years in federal prison. Jennifer Sloan got 10 years as an accessory. She'd known about the plan, had encouraged it, had promised to wait for him. When he got out, she'd said they could finally be together. Emma and I moved to Arizona after the trial, far from Minneapolis, far from the house where I'd almost died, far from the pharmacy where my husband had plotted my murder. I got a job teaching at a private school. Emma's in college now, studying criminal justice. She wants to work for the FBI like her uncle. I'm 62 now, remarried to a good man who makes me laugh and would never dream of hurting me. Emma calls me every Sunday, usually with her own family in the background. My grandkids, 3 of them, loud and chaotic and perfect. Sometimes I think about that Tuesday evening, about Emma walking into the kitchen with that crumpled printout, her voice small and scared, about how close I came to brushing it off, to telling her she misunderstood, that Daddy would never hurt me, that she was making a big deal out of nothing. I almost dismissed her, almost told her to throw it away and not worry about grown-up things, almost chose my husband over my daughter's instincts. Thank God I didn't. Thank God I looked. Thank God I believed her. Because children see what adults miss. They notice inconsistencies. They ask questions we're too polite or too trusting to ask. Emma noticed her father had become secretive. Noticed he always volunteered to fill my prescriptions. Noticed I was getting weaker when my medication should have made me stronger. She was 10 years old, and she saved my life. If you're listening to this and something feels wrong, trust that feeling. If your child tells you something scary, listen. Really listen. Don't dismiss it. Don't explain it away. Don't choose your comfort over their warning. Emma noticed trash in a recycling bin. That tiny detail, that simple curiosity about tape for a science project, that's what saved me. Because she paid attention. Because she asked questions. Because when something felt wrong, she spoke up. I'm alive today because my daughter was braver and smarter than I was. Because she trusted her fear instead of explaining it away. Because when she found evidence of danger, she brought it to me even though she didn't fully understand what it meant. That's the lesson. Listen to your children. Take their fears seriously. Investigate their warnings. They see the world differently than we do. More clearly sometimes. More honestly. Daniel got out on parole last year after serving 22 years.